buried here. When I say unknown soldier, I'm talking of the former Cuban president, okay? When the unknown soldier arrived here, it's gonna be a museum only. That's the idea, okay? That's why he has prepared all the things for his burial. I mean, he has prepared an avenue, etc. Okay, why do I want to focus on that important monument? The fact is, we're talking about Jose Marti Perez, who was one of the most important leaders of the Cuban revolution of all times. First, he was a poet. He was a good father because he used to write poems to his child. And then the name of that book was Ismaeliyu. Then he wrote another very important book for all children, and the name is Golden Age. It's dedicated to teach children how to read a book. Do you get me? Yeah. Then after that, he started to write against all those treatment that the Spaniards troop had with the Cuban people, and mainly with the slaves, that he was against slavery. That's okay. On the other hand, he was like a philosopher. Most of the phrases you're gonna see everywhere in Cuba were written for him. Otherwise, anyway, the people say it was written for him. Okay, just to say, because they don't know who belonged that phrase, and then they decided to add to point at him. Okay, Jose Marti, at 16 years old, he had to go to prison because his revolutionary's idea at that moment. And then he spent some months in a prison in an island we have to the south of Havana. That's the Isle of Youth. That's the name, we know it today. There he spent sometimes working hard, breaking rock stones. He was so hard, he was so weak, always was like that. He was a slim man, a very thin man, etc. Well, after that he go to the exile, and he's there that he was in Guatemala as a consul, he was in Nicaragua, he was in New York as a consul also. So he was a very well-known person, not only in Cuba, but around the world, because his ideas. That's why in 1951, the Cuban government, at that time, who was Prio Socarrás, decided to erect a monument to this great man. The fact is, he asked for a contest, and the best project should be done. In that way, it was finished, this project, in 1953, and the monument was done taking into account many things, such as the six women we see out there were the former provinces of Cuba at that time. When you get in there to the grave, on the grave you will see a national flag and a branch of flowers. The national flag is there after he said he would like to have a flag on his grave after he died, and he would like to have a branch of flower after he dies. That's why you're gonna see those important things there. Also, there are some holes that going to let some beams get to the grave all day long. So after he said, "Don't put me in the darkness to die like a traitor. As a good man I am, I want to die facing the sunlight." That's why they did it like that. Also, around him, in the middle, you will see the National Coat of Arms, Cuban coat of arms. And then in alphabetical order will be all the Latin American coat of arms. Also, on the floor, there are several holes in the entrance and only one hole in the way out, in the exit. Why is that? When we are in the rainy season, the water will run alongside the monument like two rivers. Why like two rivers? Because that was the place where he died in combat. Okay? That's the main idea of this man. Also, over there, there is the military ceremony. The melody you're gonna listen, it's not a national anthem. It was a melody composed by Juan Almeida Bosco, my uncle. He's already dead, who was one of the commanders of this group, and dedicated to this great man, Jose Marti Perez. And here it is a monument dedicated to the first president of Cuba once established the republic. I'm talking of Tomás Estrada Palma. That man, good friend of Jose Marti, despite of the fact that this one was considered a traitor. Why? Because he signed the Platt Amendment, okay, 1903, giving the chance to the Americans to hire or to buy a piece of land when they need it here in Cuba, without the consentiment, without anybody from Cuba, from the Senate in Cuba or Congress in Cuba, knew anything. Nobody knew that he was signing that paper. And he did it in Paris in 1901, and they approved it in 1903. And in that way, they got possession of the Guantanamo Bay, that still is there. Okay? So, now let's talk